Why do people commit crimes? This is an LSP week 2 presentation. My name is Jorge Perez. The platform suggests two papers to talk about this. One of them is Theories and Causes of Crime. It was published by SCCJR, the Scottish Centre for Crime and Justice Research. In this paper, there is a statement that there is no one single reason for crime, because there would be a mistake to associate a crime to one single reason. A crime is kind of a very complex phenomenon, and it depends on culture and time, and also the laws and the definition of deviant behavior and crimes. This paper also identifies two major categories to try to explain the causes of crime. One branch is biological theories, and the other one is sociological theories. I want to talk about biological theories. To talk about biological theories of crime, we must talk about Cesare Lombroso. Cesare Lombroso is an Italian physician who was born in 1835 and died in 1909. His work was basically based on criminal anthropology, and he was able to state a criminal type. He wrote a very important book called Duomo Delinquente in Italian, and in English translated like The Criminal Man. Cesare Lombroso obtained his degree as a doctor in 1858. He was drawn to German materialism and French and Italian positivism. This is quite important because his work is strongly influenced by these two philosophical theories, based strongly in evidence. Dr. Lombroso affirmed that criminals were atavistic. An individual is said to be atavistic when he is presenting some traits his ancestors had, and the traits are not precisely associated to positive things. This is why Cesare Lombroso affirms that criminals were atavistic, meaning essentially evolutionary throwbacks. He was working in an Italian prison, and he had the opportunity, he had the chance to measure the brains and the skulls of criminals. And he concluded that given that the traits that like sloping foreheads and receding chins were shared by dangerous criminals, involvement in crime was a result of biology. Basically, he was affirming that criminals' brain were maldeveloped or not fully developed. And I want to back to this expression later on. His theory in the present is void, although there are 4 pillars to support biological theories nowadays. And I want to read it from the slide. I want to be very precise. The first pillar is biochemical condition. This is linked to poor diet or hormone imbalance. Number 2, neurophysiological conditions. For instance, learning disabilities caused by brain damage. Number 3, genetic inheritance and or abnormality. And last, intelligence. I want to make a match with some kind of pseudoscientific practice back in 19th century. Was called phrenology. Phrenology is the study of the conformation of the skull and the brain of a person, measuring these areas in the head. By measuring these areas, phrenology affirmed that traits like moods and sensation, attitudes, and aptitudes could be predicted. Nowadays, phrenology is completely discredited, but by the time Lombroso was getting his undergraduate degree as a physician, one of the founders of this pseudoscientific practice was passing away. And phrenology was very popular during 19th century. Nowadays is uh, totally discredited, but it was trying to associate this kind of biological um, origins or reasons to explain the behavior of a person. Nowadays, in the USA, there is a very important neuroscientist named Dr. Kent Kale. He was born in 1866, and in some ways, he's trying to make a match with this biological explanation of crime. As we can see in the slide here, Lombroso, paraphrasing his affirmation a little bit, was capable to state that criminals' brains were mal-developed or not fully developed. Back in the 19th century. Nowadays, Dr. Ken Kale is stating that criminals' brains have bad neural wiring. We can see this fully explained in the chapter number 5 of season number 1 of the TV series, The Story of God, hosted by Morgan Freeman. This is a TV series produced by National Geographic. In this chapter, we can see Keel and Freeman in a maximum security facility in the US, interviewing a very dangerous criminal who was convicted for raping 2 dozens of women and killing 3 of them. When he was asked for the reason to do so, he answered that he just felt like doing that. He was not planning that. He acted by impulse. And most important of all, he has no remorse nowadays. During the chapter, Freeman offered to take him out of jail to see what he was thinking about that proposal. And he refused because he thinks that society wouldn't be safe if he is out of prison. This kind of criminals are studied by Dr. Keel, and he has been electronically scanning the brain of these criminals, and he went to the conclusion that there is a zone in our brains where the empathy, the impulse control, and the planning resides. And he can say that the more dangerous the criminal, the smaller this area. This area is named orbital frontal cortex, and he has a lot of statistical evidence to support his conclusions. Finally, I don't want to finish this video without stating a simple question, just for thinking a little bit about the origin of crime. And no matter if there is a biological or sociological explanation to this, I want to think about this statement I want to read from the slide. Even if there is evidence enough to demonstrate there is in some way bad neural wiring, does criminal not still have a choice? Do they have to commit crime? Do they have any choice? Well, that's a question I want to state at the end of this video to make us think about it.